Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2022 MICCA Concert Festival. Our next ensemble for evaluation is King Philip Middle School 7th and 8th grade band, under the direction of Charles Sherwin. Their program today includes March of the Irish Guard, traditional, arranged by James D. Poyhart, All the Pretty Little Horses by Anne McGinty, and Cascade Festival Overture by Mark Williams. As a courtesy to the performers, please turn off all cell phones and other noise-making devices, and please refrain from texting. Also, please be aware that the judges are in the back of the hall making taped comments for the benefit of the students and their teachers. This is a normal part of the adjudication process. After the performance, the ensemble will participate in a clinic with one of the adjudicators. This clinic is an important part of the festival experience, as students will receive valuable lessons and feedback from the adjudicator in person. This year, the clinic is limited to directors, performing students, and the school designated chaperones. This year, MICCA will not host official award ceremonies. Directors will collect their materials from the site host before they leave today. We congratulate all the students and their directors on their participation in this year's festival. Please join me now in welcoming Charles Sherwin and the King Philip Middle School 7th and 8th grade band.
hand up if it was better than 2 weeks ago. I agree. Okay, now can you remember this moment for like the next 100 years? Probably not. Okay. Are you proud of yourself? Yes. I'm incredibly proud of you. You should be incredibly proud of you. Remember this feeling. This is why we perform. Norfolk people? Mr. Foraker was raving about you in the hallway.
Oh, yeah?
You saw him?
Good or bad?
Good.
Okay.
He would let me know.
Could be a bad rave. Like that was so dreadful.
Hey, if that's the worst thing that happens today.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Mr. Sherman, yes? How about a round of applause for yourselves? Now, if I may, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Fonder, who I think might have at least definitely judged the very first group that I ever did when I came to King Philip. So he's been judging these groups for a long, long time. So how about a round of applause? Before you start anything.
Thank you so much. It is just a pleasure. And I mean this sincerely. What a pleasure to listen to you today. There were so many high points, and I'm going to talk about some things that you did well, but then I'm also going to offer some suggestions so that you can kind of hit that next level, if that's okay. And so let me start out, first of all, just by congratulating all of you. You know, it's kind of an odd time. And you know what I'm talking about with COVID. It's an odd time because we don't have that continuity these days that maybe 5 years ago kids your age had, or 10 years ago kids had. And you guys have shown, do you know what the word resilience means? Yeah. Resilience, that's kind of strength. And it's that mindset that tells you that you're on the right track. So I want to tell you that you absolutely are on the right track, and I want to congratulate each and every one of you for your individual work, but more importantly, your work as an ensemble. Now, how many of you have studied French? Do any of you study French? What does the word ensemble mean in French if we translate it? Can someone tell me the word ensemble? What does that mean? It's a French word, right? And you're studying French, right? Take a chance. What does it mean? Yes? No. Yes? You're on the right track, yes. Yes.
Like a really coordinated group?
That's even better. I like all of your answers. And an orchestra is actually pretty close because it's a coordinated group. Yes?
Together?
It does mean together. That's the translation of the word ensemble. And so when you have 90 people, you have 90 brains going every different direction. And at a performance, when we're at a performance like you just did, that ensemble concept, that idea of focusing all of what you are doing toward a singular goal, one goal, and that is to play music. You guys, that was artistic. It was beautiful. So well done. Now I'm going to offer just a couple of things, and we're going to start kind of in order. So if we could start with the March of the Irish Guard. strengths of this performance that I heard today was your balance and articulation. They're actually two different things. Balance is being able to hear the melody at the right time, and those of you that are playing the accompaniment, knowing who has the melody and then balancing to that. You really did a nice job. The other thing that I heard that was just so artistic was your approach toward articulations. You knew when to separate a note. You knew when to connect a note. You did that just very well. And you did it as an ensemble. You did it together. So terrific job with that. Can we start right at the beginning? Now, those of you at 2 measures before A, those of you that have that staccato quarter note there, you have the marking that says decrescendo. I always tell my groups that if you have a decrescendo, that means loud at first. So what that means is you have to start loud enough so that you can get softer. And I'd like you to be able to do that just a little bit. Can you exaggerate that just a little bit more? So in this case, decrescendo, especially those of you that have the quarter notes, staccato quarter notes, decrescendo to you means loud. And then you know what you do? You march away. If you can imagine you being soldiers at this point, just marching away, you get more distant, more distant, more distant. And you've got 8 notes to show that. Okay? Beginning once again, please. Very good. More, those of you can you find 4 measures after A? 4 measures after A on count 4. Now I see in the score, someone has written in an accent with a tenuto. Looks like, is that the best one? That is. We'll give it a try. So an accent and a tenuto, this. Could you emphasize that just a bit more on count 4? By the way, those of you who are marching away, that was just thrilling, really. And sometimes you have to exaggerate the effect. And people who play instruments have to exaggerate the effect even more, because unlike a choir has words, they have a text. And so you're sort of told what you're supposed to be thinking at this point because the words give people an idea of the feeling. But there are no words in the instrumental music. And so you have to exaggerate the effects just a little bit more than you think you have to. Last time, please, beginning. Sounds great. Good. Could we take out all the pretty little horses? Hey, clarinets. That was so enjoyable when you started in the lower range and you went over the break. See, the audience doesn't know how hard that is, how tricky that can be. If you don't have the breath control to make that connection to go from the lower over the break to the upper, they're going to think this is just, regular. This is not difficult. You made it sound absolutely flawlessly easy. The beginning was just terrific, so congratulations. It really was. Now, there is one thing that I do have to talk to you about clarinets, and that is toward the very end of the piece. In fact, your very last note, those of you who end with an A, is there something you can do with that intonation to make that go a little lower? Yeah.
Venting it.
Venting it, and so you lower it with your right hand, isn't that true? Can you make sure, are all of you doing that? That came out still a little bit sharp, so there's only one other thing that you can do, and that is to drop your jaw just a little bit more and try to get that to lower a little bit. It came off, in terms of performance, it came off really quite good, but that one note, I think you can lower yet just a little bit more. Okay? So in this piece, rather than starting at the very beginning, we're going to start toward the end, and then we'll kind of work ourselves backwards, if that's okay. Could we start 3 from the end, please? There's a double bar. Got that? There we are. Ready? And. Right, and think as low as you can at that point, okay? And all the other thing that will happen is if you can just lower that in terms of volume as well. The more important note is the F sharp. Who is that on the very last note? F sharp? Yes? How many are there of you? Oh, is it all the seconds? All of you guys have that? The very last note, Clarence, F sharp, who's got that? Okay. Okay. And how many of you are playing the F sharp? We can take a little bit more of you, and those of you that have the A, can you balance yourself, hide your tone underneath that F sharp? Okay, so whatever balance they give you, can you hide your tone in that? Okay, here we go. Last 3 measures. Thanks for your patience, everyone else. Here we are. We're at D and. That's the idea. Yeah, very good. And continue to listen with that. You know, each one of your instruments, everyone's instruments, well, except for the percussion, every one of your instruments is out of tune. Did you know that? It's made out of tune. There are no perfect instruments. And so what that means is that we take the human being who's playing them, and we have to do the listening and the adjusting. And I think all of you are becoming aware, it's becoming evident, that all of you are becoming aware of what notes that you have to kind of shade a little bit, that you have to maybe throw a third valve slide out on occasion. You have to make sure you get all the way out to 5th position. All of those things are just so very, very important. Could we start, please, with this one? You have, at measure 22, it says faster, and it's a key change. We're going to start right there. started. Da, 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 da. That phrase right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 measures long. Who could volunteer for me? Which note is the most important note of that 8-measure phrase? Is it the last note? Is it somewhere around measure 4 or 5? Is it the very first note that you play? Pardon me? The very first note? So is that the note that you want to make it the most clear statement on, and then every note after that becomes kind of, it serves that first note? Is that what you're thinking? Kind of thinking about that. Do we have any opinion? Which note is the most important note? Yes?
The highest note?
The highest note. You know what? Oftentimes that's true. You were going to say?
Me?
Yeah, you have your hand up.
B flat is what it
Your B, yeah, your B flat or your C. Yeah, I think I tend to agree. So what we have in this case then, and most music is made up of these, is an arc. So we have da, da, dee, da, 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 dee, most important note, the highest note in this case. So everything we do before that has to lead us to that note, and everything we do after that note has to lead us away from the note. So we seek the high note, and once we get to the high note, then we sort of pull away just a little bit. I would love to hear more of that in the melody right here. Could we try that with everyone, please? This is at the faster, and those of you with the melody, can you give it a contour just a little bit more? Okay? Here we go. I'm going to give you another try at it because I think that experiment right there was okay. But don't you feel like that dotted half note F or G has to be a bit more active? The one that leads you into the high note? Yes? Can you make that note a bit more active with your wind? Okay? Thank you. Let's try that once again. Now, those of you who are playing the accompaniment, listen to the melody and support them. If you can imagine, the melody at this point is the surfboard, and you are the wave. Okay? So the accompanimental people, you're the wave that makes the surfboard go. And neither one of them are any good without the other. So let's try this again. You know that active spot. Everyone else, can you support, can you provide a wave just a little bit more? All right, here we go. And. Excellent. Now I'm going to throw a word at you that 7th and 8th graders shouldn't know that much about, and that word is called nuance. What is a nuance? What does the word nuance mean? Yes.
Complex.
It can be complex. Yes. I'm sorry?
Like a small detail.
A small detail. Yeah, it deals with small details. Yes. Both of you are, yes.
Subtle.
Subtle. That is really, really good. Anybody else that can describe the word nuance? Well, you're all on the right track. Thank you for your input here. Nuance is one of those things that is best described by telling you what the opposite is. A slap in the face is not nuance. When you have a nice brand new kitten and you just pet it just so softly, that's a nuance. Okay, so a nuance in this case is something that allows us to say something in a way that's not too rough or jagged or crass. It's something that is artistic, gentle, and heartfelt. Now, those of you that have that melody, we have to be careful with the front ends of your notes so that there is no accent on the top of the phrase, but rather a nuance that makes it the loudest part. Can you do it that way? It's a nuance, it's not a slap in the face. Like that. Not da, da, and none of you did that, believe me. But something beautiful. Okay? Last time, please. Let's take our Cascade Festival Overture. Beautiful job. While Tiffany is tuning up at the very beginning, let's start just a little bit with everybody kind of at a... No, let's start right at the top. I'll bet you can get this together right away. I loved the fact that you were doing some phrasing in here, some expression in here that wasn't necessarily the idea of the composer. That you were doing some things together. It just made so much sense musically that it was exciting to hear. So, Tom, please. All set. I hope I have your attention. Some of the lower reeds and some of the tuba area there. You have half note, and then the next measure you have a dotted quarter. You have a dotted quarter, and the following note is an accent. Now, because you have a larger instrument and an instrument that plays just a little bit lower, you have to work overtime to be sure that you enunciate those notes carefully. So anytime you have an accent, The note before it, if you could put a space, a very slight space, in that note, you'll make that accent sound even more so. Okay? It's just one of those things that you can take, not only for this piece, but for many pieces that you play. That accent has to be set up with a little bit of silence before it, and then that accent will become much more distinct. And for folks way out in the audience, remember we talked about how you have to enunciate, you have to go into overtime to enunciate clearly. That will help the audience to know what this is all about. Does that mean I'm done? Oh, that's Bolero, isn't it? Can we just start at the beginning once again, please? When we get to that one spot, low brass and low reeds, can you space that one note? Remember, okay? Here we go. Top. Exaggerate that even more, actually. But I heard a difference, and that's where you start. And what a difference you folks are making in your education, in your career, in your academics, in working with music and working with people together. Just want to thank you very much for allowing me to work with you, and best wishes to you in the future.
So normally there's an award ceremony for this, but because of what we've been through the last couple of years, there's no more award ceremony. And normally we'd have parents in the room for your clinic and everything, but later on you'd go to award ceremony. This year we're doing things a little different. We're giving out the awards in the clinic, if that makes sense, yes? Yes. So this year, the 7th and 8th grade band from King Philip earned a gold medal.